This global warming is also known as the phenomenon of the climate change. We also refer to this term, this global warming, as a climate change. Climate change or the global warming, it is referred to something as the increase in the temperature of the earth's surface, of the earth's atmosphere. अगर आप आज का डेट देखोगे तो यहाँ पे if there is a normal temperature of 30 degree Celsius, तो अगले साल आप 32 अगर आप average temperature देखोगे, that means something which is known as the global warming. Now this global warming, there is a term which you must have to understand in order to understand this topic, this global warming, which is one of the most relevant and the important topics from the ecology and environment. You must have a strong hold upon this topic, this global warming, because it covers a lot of other portions which are important from your exams. Okay, so first of all, let me tell you, there is a term which is known as the greenhouse effect. Greenhouse effect. This greenhouse effect is closely associated with this phenomenon of global warming. Both this global warming as well as the greenhouse effect, they are interrelated, because this greenhouse effect is the cause of the global warming, is the reason behind the global warming, is the reason behind the increase in temperature year after year. Okay, this greenhouse effect you have to understand first in order to proceed further with our topic. So what is this greenhouse effect? You can define this greenhouse effect as the trapping. It can be defined as a trapping of sun's radiation, as a trapping of sun rays, or the trapping of sun's radiations by the gases which are present in the atmosphere, which are in the atmosphere. Now see, atmosphere, you know, atmosphere is composed of various layers. We have troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, exosphere and all that. So atmosphere, what's atmosphere? Atmosphere is the basket of gases. Atmosphere को हम define करेंगे, कैसे define करेंगे? It is the mixture of gases. There are various gases. There are the principal gas, the majority shareholder of these gases is the nitrogen. Nitrogen comprises of the bulk of gases in this atmosphere. तो उसके बाद जो है nitrogen के बाद oxygen आता है. Then we have argon, carbon dioxide, ozone, vapor, water vapor. We have various other gases in the atmosphere. So those gases is the mixture of those gases is what is known as the atmosphere. For example, I will try to explain it this diagrammatically. If this is the earth, अब यहाँ पे जो ऊपर होगा ये अर्थ का एटमॉस्फेयर होगा. फॉर एग्जांपल ये होगा अर्थ का एटमॉस्फेयर, राइट? ये होगा अर्थ का एटमॉस्फेयर. यहाँ से ये अर्थ का बिल्कुल अबोव जो है ये एटमॉस्फेयर बिल्कुल यहाँ से शुरू हो जाता है. अब मैं थोड़ा इसको यहाँ पे गैप रखने की कोशिश करूंगा कि यहाँ पे मुझे आपको थोड़ा डायग्राम दिखाना है. सो आई विल कीप इट हियर. सो दिस यू मे अज्यूम दैट दिस इज द एटमॉस्फेयर. दिस इज द एटमॉस्फेयर ऑफ द अर्थ. अर्थ के बिल्कुल जब आप ऊपर जाओगे तो अभी आप जो ऑक्सीजन जो है, जो यू ब्रीथ द ऑक्सीजन, दिस इज द एटमॉस्फेयर. बिल्कुल जब अर्थ के आप ऊपर जाओगे, इट्स व्हाट इज नोन एज द एटमॉस्फेयर ऑफ द अर्थ, constituting the various gases like you have nitrogen, as I told you. Now see what happens. What is this greenhouse effect? Greenhouse effect क्या होता है ना? Greenhouse effect, if there is a sun, this sun, it radiates, it gives us the solar energy, it emits the solar radiation. So this radiation is coming from this sun directly towards the earth. So this is the radiation, these are the sun rays which are coming. So this is the atmosphere, right? This is the atmosphere which is above the earth surface. तो यहाँ पे जो है आपकी radiation ऐसे earth पे पड़ जाती है. Okay, these are the sun rays. But remember that these waves, these are in the form of short waves. This radiation which is coming from the sun towards the earth's surface, which is emitted by the sun, and these are in the form of short wavelength. Short wavelength क्या होता है? Short wavelength ऐसे इनकी जो waves होती है ऐसे वो short wavelength की waves होती है. Okay, there are two terms. One is the short wavelength. Short wavelength ये होता है जिनकी waves ऐसी होती है, तो आप देख सकते हैं इनकी length कम है, तभी आप इनको short wavelength बोलते हैं. लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ ये होती है, लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ। ओके, ये होती है लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ। अब sun emits radiation in the form of short wavelength, in the form of short waves, and this short wavelength radiation, it is able to reach directly on the earth's surface. Although some part of it is emitted back from the atmosphere itself, but some part of the sun's radiation, it reaches directly on the earth's surface. सीधे ये in the form of short wavelength, it reaches to the earth's surface. Now what happens? Earth absorbs some part of that radiation. अर्थ जो है उस हीट को, उस रेडिएशन को एब्जॉर्ब करती है, एंड इट इमिट्स बैक द रेडिएशन इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ। ओके, इन द फॉर्म ऑफ, ये जो है इनकी इन द फॉर्म ऑफ लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ। ये लॉन्ग वेवलेंथ, या इसको हम बोलते हैं इंफ्रारेड रेडिएशन। इंफ्रारेड सीधे जो है, आफ्टर एब्जॉर्बिंग सम पार्ट ऑफ द सन्स हीट, it emits back that radiation towards the space in the form of long wavelength, in the form of infrared radiation. That infrared radiation is not fully able to go directly into the space. What happens? यहाँ पे जो एटमॉस्फेयर में होता है, यहाँ पे जो बिल्कुल यहाँ पे कुछ ऐसे गैसेस होते हैं, उनको हम बोलते हैं ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस। इनको हम बोलते हैं ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस। अब विच आर द ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस? वी हैव फॉर एग्जांपल कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, we have ozone, we have water vapor, then we have methane. Alright, we have methane, then we have other gases like sulfur hexafluoride, we have hydrofluorocarbons, we have nitrous oxide. So these kinds of gases are already here in the atmosphere, they are present there. Now the part of this heat is able to go directly back towards the space, but some part of is trapped. Some part of this heat is trapped by this atmosphere, by these gases, by those gases which are known as the greenhouse gases. Since these gases trap some part of this energy, this radiation here, इसको वापस ही धक्का देते हैं इस अर्थ की तरफ ऐसे। Some part is emitted back by these greenhouse, जो ये gases होते हैं वो उसको धक्का यहाँ वापस देते हैं अर्थ की तरफ ऐसे, ठीक है। Now what happens? Okay, now what happens? Are you able to understand? These are the greenhouse gases. When they absorb some part of outgoing solar radiation, this solar radiation of long wavelength, when they are able to trap this, because this is not this infrared radiation, this outgoing radiation is not able to directly go back towards the atmosphere, towards the space. बिकॉज यहाँ पे जो कुछ गैसेस होते हैं वो इसको ट्रैप करते हैं कुछ पोर्शंस को, और वापस वो उसको अर्थ की तरफ जो है धक्का देते हैं। नाउ दिस इज इंपॉर्टेंट, दिस ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट इज इंपॉर्टेंट। और अगर ऐसा नहीं होता, अगर ये सारी रेडिएशन जो है सीधे वापस ही चली जाती, तो हमारा अर्थ का टेम्परेचर जो होगा वो बहुत ही कम होता। कम क्या होता? यहाँ पे खाली जो है आइस होता। विदाउट दिस ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट, दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ ग्रीन हाउस इफेक्ट। Without this greenhouse effect, the life on the earth would not have been possible. If these gases, if this solar radiation was not to be trapped by these greenhouse gases, we cannot probably survive on this earth or on this planet, because temperature is important factor which survives us, which sustains the life on the earth. So this is the good phenomenon. As far as आप अंदाजा इस बात से लगा सकते हो, अगर ये गैसेस यहाँ पे ट्रैप नहीं होते, अगर ये गैसेस अगर इस रेडिएशन को यहाँ पे ट्रैप नहीं करते, तो हमारा टेम्परेचर जो होगा वो -33 डिग्री जो है वो 33 डिग्री सेल्सियस कम होगा। सो सी 33 डिग्री सेल्सियस डिग्री जो है, अब 33 डिग्री सेल्सियस जो टेम्परेचर है वो कंट्रीब्यूट करते हैं ये ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस। तभी हमारी लाइफ जो है, तभी आप सनलाइट देखते हो, तभी आप दिस यहाँ पे यू आर एबल टू सर्वाइव, यू आर एबल टू कल्टिवेट, यू आर एबल टू प्रैक्टिस एग्रीकल्चर। सो विदाउट सोलर रेडिएशन यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग, विदाउट टेम्परेचर, विदाउट हीट यू कैन नॉट डू एनीथिंग। ओके, नाउ सी व्हाट हैपेंस। This is the phenomenon which had been going on since the human being came into existence on this planet. But the problem starts. प्रॉब्लम स्टार्ट्स विद दिस फैक्ट दैट अगर ये गैसेस, ये ग्रीन हाउस गैसेस, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, ओजोन, वाटर वेपर वगैरह, मीथेन वगैरह, अगर ये गैसेस ज्यादा होगी तो उसका मतलब क्या होगा? उसका मतलब ये होगा कि हीट भी ज्यादा ट्रैप होगी। अगर ये ज्यादा गैसेस हो गए, then that means that that more outgoing radiation will be trapped। और अगर ये रेडिएशन ट्रैप ज्यादा होगी तो फिर क्या होता है ना, फिर यहाँ पे टेम्परेचर भी ज्यादा होगा, फिर टेम्परेचर भी ज्यादा होगा। और जितने ज्यादा गैसेस उतना ज्यादा टेम्परेचर, जितना ज्यादा टेम्परेचर वो हमारे लिए प्रॉब्लम, क्योंकि हमारा जो है कुछ एक नॉर्मल रेंज ऑफ टेम्परेचर, वी कैन नॉट सर्वाइव द हाई टेम्परेचर। नाउ this is the problem. The problem starts with this fact that since the middle of 18th century there has been a process which is known as the industrialization. Industrial revolution, which you might be knowing, it started in Europe. That industrial revolution, which was marked by the high setting up of the industries, यहाँ पे आप अभी देखो कि let me give you an example. If you are living, if it is 1950, आप अंदाजा लगाओ 1950 में कितनी गाड़ियां होंगी, how many automobiles, how many trains, how many factories were there? Probably very few. But अब आज का डेट देखो 2019, so how many factories are there, how many automobiles are there, how many cars are there? There are so many. That means जो है they are driven by the fossil fuels. The more automobiles, the more factories means more burning of fossil fuels like coal, petrol, diesel. तो वो fossil fuels जब ज़्यादा use होते हैं तो emissions will be more. When those emissions will be more, then there will be probably the increase in the concentration of these gases in the atmosphere. When there will be the increase in the concentration of these gases in the atmosphere, that means the more heat, more outgoing heat will be trapped in the atmosphere. So this is what leads to the disastrous consequences for the humankind. This is the problem. This is the crux of problem. So this is this greenhouse effect, which is so much important for the survival of life. But इस ये greenhouse effect जब ज़्यादा होता है, जब temperature इसमें ज़्यादा होता है, above the normal range, that is what leads towards the global warming, what leads towards the climate change. Okay, what leads towards the climate change. Now, so the basic cause for this global warming is the burning of fossil fuels. Burning of fossil fuels. The unsustainable way of living. Okay. The deforestation which is being carrying out, thereby reducing the capability of the forest to sink the carbon. So carbon sink जिनको हम बोलते हैं, those carbon sinks are being eliminated or being destroyed by the various factors. But among those factors, it is the human being who is contributing towards it. More, जैसे मैंने अभी आपको कहा कि that the more industrialization means more burning of fossil fuels. That's what leads to the global warming. So this global warming, which is caused by the increased use of the fossil fuels, it has the various disastrous consequences. अब आप खुद ही अंदाजा लगा सकते हो, जब टेम्परेचर इंक्रीज होगा तो कितने इसके consequences जो है, the consequences can be equally disastrous for the consequences are already there. But as far as the consequences are concerned, what its consequences can be, you can write down that first consequence can be the increase or the rise of sea level. Increase in the sea level, rise of the sea level, which may sink the island nations, which can sink those islands who live close to the coastal areas. So the coastal areas which live close to the oceans, they may get submerged if there is a increase in this global warming in this temperature. Okay, so this increase may be due to the melting of the polar ice caps, जो वहाँ पे जितने भी वहाँ पे जो this glaciers है, जितने भी हमारे पास यहाँ पे polar areas है, तो वहाँ पे जब वो उनका ice melt होता है, तो that means कि यहाँ पे जो है वो sea level वो उससे इंक्रीज, उनके मेल्ट होने से सी लेवल इंक्रीज हो जाएगा. Then you can see the consequence like the decrease in the agricultural productivity. Decrease in the agricultural productivity. Agricultural productivity, because agricultural crops, agricultural productivity, okay, agricultural crops are not resilient to this change. Agricultural crops, they need a moderate range of temperature. They are not resistant to this increase in increasing temperature levels. तो उसकी वजह से जो है यहाँ पे बहुत से क्रॉप्स एक्सटिंक्ट हो सकते हैं, बहुत से क्रॉप जो उनकी प्रोडक्टिविटी खत्म या कम हो सकती है. So that can be, you know, there can be the health consequences as well. Health consequences. Various species of the animals, various species of the plants, they may get extinct from the planet, and some of them have already been extincted. Okay, then you know, some irregular this weather changes may occur. आपने El Nino phenomena सुना होगा, that you know, oceanic currents may get disturbed because of the you know, this temperature, because of the temperature increase. जो ओशन की जो मैरीन लाइफ है इसका कंसिक्वेंस जो है वो बहुत ही डिजास्टर्स हो सकता है, वो बहुत ही नेगेटिव हो सकता है. मैरीन लाइफ, फॉर एग्जांपल, देयर इज अ प्रोसेस कॉल्ड द कोरल ब्लीचिंग. Coral bleaching is a term which is referred to as the change in the ecosystem called the coral reefs. Coral reefs is the marine ecosystem, and they are very you know, they are not resistant to the increase to that increase in the temperature. And that coral reefs का जो decline होता है, जो उनका bleach होता है, जो उनका color change होता है, जो ecosystem का जो decline होता है, that's known as the coral bleaching. जब उनको whitish color होता है. Okay, so that marine life, the fish productivity, all the organisms which live in the oceanic surface or the water surfaces, they may also get disturbed due to this change, due to this global warming. So there can be various other consequences like you know, the forest fires, increase in the forest fires, desertification जो है उसको यहाँ पे increase हो सकता है.